How's it going, team? This is the Brown Man. I hope all is well. So for today, I'm going to go over the Schemer, Bill, and how to handle his class as a survivor. The last time we went over a boss class, or a demon class rather, we went over Elicus in the Puppeteer class. The Schemer actually has different unique perks to be mindful of, so let's break that down. His active is going to be Scarefest, so within range, you will activate all traps if you have the appropriate infernal energy. Then you'll activate that, which will allow him to zoom across the map with another perk. This also allows him to combo, as he does have Scarefest attached to his unit, kind of like how Henrietta has really bad influence that follows a possessed unit. Scarefest will also follow the possessed unit or possessed survivor, allowing him to combo you into traps, to be a little bit mindful. Mass Paranoia is another way to possess survivors and units. It's the same thing, it still costs the points. However, Mass Paranoia makes it so that way when you possess a unit, all units look possessed within range, and all survivors will look like the possessed survivor. Just be mindful that when a survivor is possessed, their weapons don't change. So if you know the Warrior Ash is possessed with the chainsaw, just look for the motherfucker with the chainsaw and kind of nail him down. Manhunter is going to be what allows him to zoom across the map. When you set a trap, your speed will increase by 50%. When you combine with Scarefest, this allows Ball to be very aggressive because he can move very fast. He'll just keep zooming across the map, activating traps, and increasing his movement speed. When survivors trigger a trap, whether it be a crate or a portal or a scare trap, they will get marked. When they are marked by default here, they'll receive 35% extra fear, 40% extra damage over a course of 10 seconds. That 10 seconds timer is refreshable if you trigger more traps in that window. Feed by fear, the higher the survivor's level, the more damage they take from possessed teammates, and the more infernal energy the demon generates passively. They take 50% more damage, so just be a little bit mindful. Team Killer Machete Mia is definitely not the best when it comes to Ball, especially if she has a machete. It gets really disgusting. You thought Mia was bad before. Oof. Rampant Paranoia increases the fear level of survivors when near an active objective. This allows Ball units damage to constantly climb, because the higher the fear level, the more damage Ball units or build units do to survivors. And it also makes it so it loses a little bit trickier to hold out on an objective if you are the last person, because if your fear reaches that peak, they'll most likely run you out or trap loop you to death. There you go. So let's go over the units here. So the boss unit, of course, is Bill. When Bill dodges, Bill is actually going to be invisible until he attacks again or until the timer is off of Peekaboo. Embrace the Darkness is going to be his grab. It does a decent amount of damage, especially if they are high fear. It does a great chunk to a lot of players. Blood Harvest is going to be an AoE attack. He has two AoE attacks actually. So you have one that's going to be draining health with his Blood Harvest, and then you got a Fatal Snap. Does more damage, but it does not receive health. It's pretty decent. I do like these attacks, but Ball is actually a bit slow, so you do want to be mindful of his heavies. You do want to be a bit mindful of his AoEs. His lights, maybe you can eat one or two if you have to, but he's just super slow. You can probably dodge and just get the fuck out of there when it comes to Bill. You might eat maybe a hit if he uses Peekaboo, but just be mindful. This is more reliable in team fights on objective, when he's kind of just spamming his AoE attacks with max cooldown. Skinned Proselyte will be the elites. These are big motherfuckers. They have also AoE attacks. Steel Epidermis. Oh my god. Steel Epidermis will allow them to actually tank more damage, whether it be physical or ranged. They are absolute bruisers. High defense, capacity for higher defense with Steel Epidermis. And they can use Steel Epidermis while moving, so it doesn't have this awkward character animation. They can just activate it while attacking, while doing their thing. It doesn't hinder them. You're going to have the Needles, which is going to be the slam to the ground, or you're going to have the Cascade of Blood, which will be the AoE pinball spike. And that, of course, once again, all these things scale according to fear. So if you hit a trap, and then this guy, he's Cascade of Blood, it is not uncommon for this guy to chunk even leaders and warriors a great deal. Be able to 2-hit KO or 3-hit KO. Even bulky characters. Just be mindful. They do attack relatively slow, so of course the pattern is going to be just to dodge the attacks, just like with the boss. Just dodge those high damage attacks and be mindful of being pinballed into a trap. The basic units are alright. They can dodge. Typically, their main thing is going to be summon, and then Fit of Temper. They'll use their little rage thing. They'll growl, and their heads will glow that little red. This will allow them to actually temporarily increase their movement speed. They still get a cooldown. Just be mindful when they are doing this. Just try to dodge through them. They will use their Scarefest on these basic units. Try to chase you into a trap, pinball you for the extra damage, and just go off with that with that increased attack speed. So just dodge through them. They probably rely on you dodging back into a trap, so just be mindful of that. Dodge through them. Don't dodge to the side per se, because when they attack, they kind of barrel forward a little bit. So definitely dodging through them will be a bit reliable. If they try to just do one light attack and then follow you, they are draining Fit of Temper time. Fit of Temper is typically best when using a bunch of attacks, because it's only 10 seconds. Especially get all the attacks, or most of the attacks out the way while that is up. Vampiric Rake, is that a rape? Vampiric Rake is going to be like a couple of quick attacks in succession. They do get a little bit of health back, of course. Once again, it's pretty solid when they bounce you off a trap. More damage, more health they get in exchange. So be a little bit mindful. And we're going to go into, of course, some of the skills to be mindful of. And all the skills to be mindful of are actually going to amplify pretty much Manhunter traits. You're going to have Omen of Death, increases fear level over time by marked survivors. Fingernails, Heart Pounding, increases damage by marked survivors. So marked survivors will have the 40% plus the 15% here, 55%. Mark of Evil, so survivors stay marked for a longer time. Or Dead by Dawn. Dead by Dawn is going to be probably one of the more meta things. I don't possess loop. I play with honor. I try to play with honor, and I never feel looped, possess looped survivors. And I'm not going to start doing that just because Ball is here and it's easier to do so. With Dead by Dawn, it increases the fear level of survivors who are freed from the possession, so that way they are freed, but their fear doesn't go back to 0, which is a pretty interesting thing to do. Field of Fear increases the damage dealt by the schemer to survivors with high fear level, so it further increases the scaling. And Mortal Invader reduces the fear threshold for some survivors in order to possess them. And that's about it. That's all that you as a survivor need to really be aware of. Ball and Chain, cooldown reduction, mindfulness, extra HP, Master of Horror, increases fear when Bill attacks you. So these are all things that you just gotta assume that maybe this guy has. Once again, nothing super that's super game changing. The only thing would be, we'll say, Ball and Chain, increasing the cooldown on objectives, especially if you have a bunch of warriors, they can't really dodge that much. Increasing the cooldown of his moves will actually pretty much hurt those who can't really dodge that well. I'm not telling you how to build football. I'm just telling you what perks to be kind of on the lookout for as a survivor. Everything else will allow him to move quicker or have more demon dashes, just that kind of tree. But definitely just be mindful that he does amplify Manhunter to allow you guys to take 55% more damage plus fear scaling plus all kinds of extra stuff. So just be a little bit As I said again, take a shot or a shit whenever I say be mindful. Just be mindful of fear and damage. It's pretty much the whole stick. If you guys are that scared of Ball, notable leaders to be involved is going to be Hefe with his fear reduction or fear mitigation rather from El Jefe and El Jefe Grande, allowing him to have at base up to 50% fear resistance to the team. And then ED1 Ash, of course, he's good against any demon, but him having that instant fear reduction, as soon as he activates his active, it drops 55%, is going to be clutch. Those two in tandem should be enough for for enough fear resistance just to keep you guys from getting looped and all kinds of crazy shit involved. If you are truly scared of Ball, then you might want to invest in anti-fear. So for example, if you have a hunter here, you might want to go into Fear No Evil and a decent amount into I Ain't Afraid of No Trap to decrease the amount of fear received from traps, if that is your main concern. Definitely, Ball does have an ability to level up quite fast due to activating traps within area without manually going up to each trap and activating them. Just be a little bit mindful. Once again, take a shot or a shit whenever I say that. You are, with aggressive Elegos and aggressive Puppeteers, you are on a timer generally. You don't want to spend 10-15 minutes looting. You want to loot towards the objective. If you see, like for example, at Dead End, there's 5 houses. You can, 4 or 5 houses there. You can have one person in each house. You don't need to all back somebody up in one house. Make looting a little bit faster. Be a bit more efficient. As Ball is efficient with his energy, you need to be efficient with yours. Ball is also, because of him needing to fear scale, he's actually typically weaker on the book, but he can still do some decent damage with the elites, but he's typically a little bit weaker on the book. Just be a little bit mindful to dodge those AoEs. And definitely, for sure, have fun, constantly learn. This game requires you to constantly learn, constantly engage, and be mindful of going off on your own. Going off on your own, getting fear looped by yourself is going to cause some real crazy shit to go down. So of course, you guys be safe, stay hydrated, and of course, have a good one, and look forward to the next demon that we're going to do an anti-video on. Is going to be Necro, and I'm still getting details up for the melee combo videos for every single melee weapon in the game. Till then.